Yeah.
Welcome to Leap Sales with Ian Nethercott and Larry Feldman live.
If you look at the last 4 years, Ian, we've answered 41 million phone calls for dealers over the last 4 years with our AI platform. We've also handled over 150 million text messages. And so when you look at just those raw numbers, that's a 4-to-1, 3.5, 4-to-1 text to phone call. So I don't know. Here's what I can tell you, though. I believe that the customer wants to be met where they are presently. If that is text, voice, video call, if they want to be engaged and engaged instantly.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And I think that the other thing I learned this week, Larry, was, not shocked. It's about your attitude, really. It's about the way you look at things. And I saw a really interesting post right before we jumped on today was when you have more years behind you than ahead of you, you look at things a little differently. And I think that may be part of the problem for some people, not blaming anybody. It's really about the way you look at things. But how's your week going, Mr. Larry?
It's going well. And as far as attitude, I always quote my buddy Ali Garcia, who said, "We should live each day like we're dying because we are dying." We hope it's not for 100 years, but to procrastinate or not put your full energy into every one of your efforts makes no sense at all.
Fantastic. Anyone else have any comments on attitude or point of view or their week?
Well, attitude is contagious, good or bad. Okay? So all my life, especially being born as I was, and I was told at a very young age that I only have 15 to 20 years on this beautiful world. And I always took a positive attitude and looked at it one year at a time. And here I am, soon to be 71, God willing, by the end of the month.
Congrats.
So it's all about attitude.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, in another 10 days, so we'll have another little sale before that, hopefully.
Okay.
But
Or
it's on
today, God
Sunday.
willing, yeah.
Always God willing, because you're never guaranteed another hour, let alone another day.
That's right.
And my wife's birthday is the end of this week.
Yeah, find it on the 30th, next Sunday.
Today, I had to help with a good attitude is I'm traveling with my family. We've got like an Airbnb for a week, right at the tip of the Cape. And I was able to take one of my e-bikes and ride it up and down the Cape Cod Canal. And how beautiful it was. It was a wonderful day. The people just get up in the morning and they go and they park themselves and they just watch the boats come in and out. So attitude is definitely something, and you do have to take some time to recharge. So I'll be on for probably half the show, and then I think the kids will be here, and it'll be a great evening. So it's awesome.
So, granted, everybody we bump into every day might not be as bubbly and effervescent as we are. But you know what? There's never a time to be rude.
Right.
And like I ran into somebody today and, I was early for an appointment. She goes, "Oh, there's like 200 people ahead of you."
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for stating the obvious. That's such good input.
I can see you're happy to be here. So.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's funny. I had a meeting with a gentleman today, and he almost lost his wife through childbirth, and she managed to survive. And that was the impetus for a podcast he's done where he's interviewed people for years that have gone through life-changing situations. And I was like, wow, what an idea to come from something negative that really, turned into something positive. So that was really impressive to me. So that was my kind of learning today.
Well, don't you think that most successful people, it's because you took it in the chops?
Oh,
Maybe more than
100%.
once. But it just, I've said this before, but the horrible bosses that I've had make me so much better.
That's
in
right.
How I treat people and clients and partners today, because it just, I don't think about them, but I can say, I know in the back of my mind, I learned from that.
100%. And no one's going to be successful right out of the gate with their first attempt, even if it's a lemonade stand. You probably even learn something from that. I saw this young girl was walking around, I think on the weekend, and she was out there at the lemonade stand. I was like, good for you. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, got to start somewhere, man. I mean, most people don't even do that these days. Old school, man. But that was interesting.
It's just as important to learn what not to do as much as it is to do.
Oh, 100%. And here's one from the car business. So my brother was looking for a pickup. And I was talking to the dealer today, and I wasn't going to do this because I thought, okay, I'll let the guy go. But the dealer asked me, they said, hey, you've done all this for me. Is there something I can do for you? Yeah, my brother was trying to buy a pickup truck from one of your Toyota locations, and nobody got back to me. Goes, oh, yeah, I'll light them up. I've never got a faster call back in my life from someone.
Hey, two things, Ian. I always, when I try to impress upon people how important it is to be expedient, I love to ask my crowds, you see the pictures everywhere I go, nice size crowd, why are you here? To get a job? I said, no. Why are you here instead of someplace else you applied? Because we reached out to you, and we did it right away, and we were friendly.
Yep.
By the way, we've got an appearance. It's not a rumor. Don Graff actually exists. He's on the Pelicans. So we'll be hearing from my buddy Don Graff soon. He's got some really, really exciting things going on, which I'm going to help him with. So we'll get you on in a minute, Don, to hear. I tell everybody the magical things you do.
Fantastic. Mr. Larkin, attitude, what do you think?
Attitude. Hey, I used to babysit a dog when I was a kid. He was a golden retriever, but he was red-haired. He was Rufus.
Rufus.
His name was Rufus.
Just the red-haired retriever.
We used to call him Roofy, right? And so we used to kind of tease the dog and putting a snack in front of his face and taking it away. And he'd get that. And he'd show us his teeth. Right? So that was his attitude. That was mad. And then we give him the snack and they'd go, wanna go for a walk? And his ears would go, whoop. We as humans can recognize when we're in a bad mood and change it like that. Dogs and animals can't do it as easily. Think about that. We have the control of our attitude. We can either be in a bad mood or a good mood, and we can change it like that.
Yeah, but dogs have a better attitude than us because they tend to be happy. I mean, your dog hasn't seen you for 4 hours. It's like just like a lottery.
Not when I took Rufus's treat away.
Well, you can have the same reaction with
It
someone on
was
vacation.
an experiment in my youth.
Experiment.
The difference there, we are the dog's whole life, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
No question about it.
some business owners feel like
When Tucker saw us packing, he wanted to jump into the luggage right along. And he was so excited that we said, come on along, jump in the car. You're not going anywhere. You're coming with us. He found the beach for the first time, and it was the first thing he started doing. He started digging. I've never seen him do any digging in the backyard, but on the beach, he was going for China.
Yeah, my brother has a golden. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Don or Abdul or David.
Yes, it was Don yesterday.
Yeah, Don, you haven't been on in a while, my buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well.
Hello, Mr. Graff.
How are you doing?
Good.
How are you?
Good.
There you are. You want to tell everybody some of the cool things you're working on that I've been privy to?
the videos and stuff.
Well, I like
Yeah,
the
right.
flyer. I like the flyer that you shared with me. It explains what it is and how it works.
Yeah, all this, we're COTS certified now. We're working with the Kennedys. We're putting them together. They have 10 stores. 7.
Don't get excited there, Selman. When he says Kennedys, he's not talking about the Massachusetts ones. He's talking about the ones in Pennsylvania have 5 or 6 Ford dealerships.
They never let that family get involved with the auto industry. Between Herb Chambers and Ernie Bach, they owned it.
It's a shame because it would have been a hell of a promo with Ted Kennedy involved.
Don't get in the catalog.
Oh, ouch.
So go ahead, Don. Tell us. I know what you're doing, but tell everybody what you've been doing and what you're working on, please.
We're working on getting our name out there, and we're doing pretty well now. We have our 7 agents, cover all the bases, don't leave anything unturned. It's everything you would do in it that you learned in your 30 years in a car business.
Wow.
Horse profit is becoming the ticket. We have declined service reactivation now. We're 24/7 service appointment booking, missed call recovery, really expanded the service operation.
And if anybody's looking for it, it's VOYC, not VOYC.
If you have a website, Don, can you put it in the chat?
Yeah, I can post it on the stream if you want. Go ahead. Okay.
Oh, and David and Michael, I had full intentions of jumping on you inside of AI, and I got engaged with somebody that called me, and they tied me up for the damn near whole hour. Sorry I missed you guys there.
Hey, that's okay. It sucked anyway.
Ouch!
Has anyone noticed Larkin's attitude starting to slip? No one had to leave town. Larkin's got a bad attitude. Who thought I'd be the reputable one?
Don't take my stats away.
Yeah, well, he was the one teasing the dog, man. Maybe he needed to get a bit or something.
Well, Jeff called me a dog.
I heard.
Hey, Sandy.
Over there.
Hey, Sandy. We were talking about attitude a little bit, and then we're going to talk about AI, but did you have any advice on people that to have a better attitude? I know dancing's part of yours, but what's your advice?
How to have a better attitude?
Yeah, how to have a better attitude. Shocking.
I mean, sometimes some other kind of attitude helps. It can have its moments.
Oh, okay.
Right? But, attitude of gratitude is what I try and do.
Go hand in hand.
Fantastic.
And they do go hand in hand, Abdul. How you been, Abdul?
Good, dear. How are you?
Good.
They got me blacked out. I guess I'm the only brown guy in here. So pictures not showing.
You know what, Abdul? That you are the only brown guy that comes. Okay.
And not too shabby for a Muslim Afghan American living in the U.S. for 55 years and surviving a 20-hour open heart surgery.
You have quite a story, Abdul. And is your do you have the little camera?
I do, but the little camera is hiding on me because I just got back from office, so the little Wi-Fi at my unit acts up a little bit. But I see a beautiful face, no problem. The rest are available. I don't want to break my phone putting my picture on, so just call me Casper.
So I just got back from NAMED.
Yep. How was that?
Amazing, as usual. It is the most amazing conference. Period.
And how did the booth go over? I know you were assembling it last week.
Awesome. The booth was great. So I'm tired. I'm tired because the follow up. And guess what I found out?
No. Go ahead.
I am totally a salesperson.
No, it's not that hard. You are. You can learn it. Oh yeah.
Something had to do with attitude and me wrangling myself.
Yep.
Right, and internally feeling like and it was actually a dealer that I was talking to. This was a great story. Because I have this feeling that I'm like imposing on my friends, right?
Yep.
And I met this dealer and his wife at NADA last year, and just like the nicest people. Well, that's the thing that I learned. Like, I connect with people without caring about who they are or what they believe, right? And so that's part of what I have to remember to keep doing. Anyway, so we had breakfast, and I'm telling him this story about imposing on my friends, and he says, "Well, you know, you have bills together, and who better to turn to than your friends, right?" That was thank you. That's right. So anyway, I'm gonna be calling him.
Well, sales is always about being of help, and everyone sells anyway. They're just selling in different ways. I mean, everyone has to convince someone of something at some point in their life. The only difference is, and I guess I'll use myself as an example, I became a salesperson because that was my personality. Not because it was a choice. It was because something that always was there, and I had an interest and a skill in it. But it's something everyone does. They just may not lean into it the way they could, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something.
Nobody ever told me to go do sales.
Well,
yeah.
Sandy, you have been hanging out on Lethal Sales.
It's literally the name of the show.
I started coming to these things when I opened my consulting, right? Because what I learned was that there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and the first thing I appreciated was more salespeople, right? Because you know, when I first started, I knocked on doors. I had a dealer tell me this guy, he was funny. You know, we were on a call and I was asking for help about how do I do this, and he finally looked at it, and he had a deep Southern accent and said, "Sandy, even a blind hog gets an acorn once in a while." So it's like, he just told me he wanted me to go door to door, and somebody was using it, right? That's cool.
But that's true for sales in general. Do you remember? You're too young.
That's not my thing.
Yeah. When I was young, there were two kinds of intelligence. There was either math intelligence or reading literature, you know, verbal intelligence. And then they came out with 7 or 8 different intelligences. And I look at sales the same way, is that everybody does it, but it doesn't look the same with a lot of people. It's like you say, that's the sales thing, but you're selling in your empathetic way, let's say. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother way. It's not recognizable as sales necessarily.
I do it with actual people. Like, I'm not connecting. I found my group. Right. And Sandy got a group, right? And I'm going to continue. When I try and be something else, that's when I become inauthentic. And that's when.
And that's exactly the bottom line for anybody.
And it feels terrible for me. Like meltdown, I'm gonna have a meltdown terrible. But when I'm not me, you know, it feels terrible. Larry, I have a lead for you, actually, a possible lead. So, and David has an announcement.
Yeah, David, go ahead.
Okay.
And thank you, Sandy.
And definitely get that book if you're interested in, even if you're not doing traditional selling. Gentleman's called Oren Klaff. He's based out of California. A book called Flip the Script. Really good book on selling. If you're wanting to learn from someone who does it well, in my opinion.
Wait, did you guys say I have an announcement, Sandy?
Yeah.
Hey, Michael Arkansas and Russell Hill.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, other than Russell Hill was out with his wife. That he's not going to make it. That's really about it. He's traveling.
Thank you very much.
That's all. Russell said, "Hey, I'm traveling with my wife.
In case you didn't notice,
we're going out. We're going to have some husband and wife time." I said,
"Fair enough.
That's enough said."
Yeah.
Hopefully they won't come up pregnant.
Yeah, I'm hoping not. But yeah, it's okay. God bless them if they do.
We're all going to be rich if you does.
Sandy, what you're describing is selling without pitching.
Yeah.
You know, my wife did home, was in home parties for a while. And she always did really good. And she's telling me, I suck at sales. I go, that's what makes you good.
Yeah.
People don't think you're trying to sell them something. And we should all have that gift. We don't, I don't.
You know what I noticed? Because we were at there were other vendors that like were like, how do you talk to so many people? How do you I don't know, I just know a lot of people and I'm nice. Right? But anyway, so thank you, Jeff.
You have to sell the way you sell. The challenge with a lot of sales books, and I've read a lot, most of them, they're trying to convince you to sell their way. You have to sell the way you're comfortable with. Yeah. That's why word tracks, to quote Larry and others, don't really work. Like when I got into selling, it was really because I wanted to be of help. And that's what I've always done. It's not necessarily about grinding it out. It's not about that. It's about, okay, how can I help that person? Right. And that's what I guess was really crazy today. I met with a large dealer. He owns a lot of dealerships in North America, and he wanted to help me after I basically was showing him a couple of companies today. I wasn't technically selling it. I don't think it's like, here's a couple of companies I've run into that might be helpful to you. Let me know, that kind of thing. And at the end of the day, the same thing is true, I think, for people that have maybe a negative view of selling. It's really about, okay, I'm trying to help this person out. Like sometimes it's a hard chase because it's hard to get their time, but if you go at it that way, it tends to go a lot better, in my opinion. I mean, I'm always looking for that next tactic or technique that makes sense. But what I find as I've been in sales for over 40 years now is I make less calls today than I did 40 years ago, and I get more results. And the reason is my network, but also how I do it has changed. I don't do it the same way. I'm not doing
Ian,
that.
I got a question for you about that.
Yeah.
Is we're all positive and we have all great attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And initially.
Yeah.
And after the 10th follow-up.
Yep.
What number do you start getting a little bit pushy? In other words, you're gonna ghost me again.
Well, let me.
It's on my calendar. You agreed to it, and you're not here.
Well,
now I'm getting a little bit more than annoyed, and you're getting my Irish up.
Well, let me give you some thoughts, because I'm very relentless when I'm chasing something that makes sense to me anyway. And in my case, it's mostly sponsors I chase. But let's just say it's interviews, and I do that as well. So first of all, you have to remember that person probably gets inundated with communication of all types. Okay, years ago it was phone calls. Now it's probably a combination of phone calls, text messages, and email. My recommendation is make fun videos for that person. Send them to them. Via LinkedIn if you so choose, or via text message if you so choose. People get a lot less videos and text messages than they do anything else, but in LinkedIn as well. But more importantly, I always look at that person, I couldn't connect with them for whatever reason. Hey, maybe it was something on my end. Maybe it was something I messed up. Can we rebook it? You can usually leverage that because people, maybe something happened in their day. You don't know. Okay, we'll turn that into another appointment.
Ian, I'm so glad you said that, because I just texted a link to Bugs Bunny and Pete the Puma to
have fun with it, man. I'm telling you.
David Rozak today, because he's never seen that cartoon, and it still makes me laugh out loud. And I'm 57 years old. I'm laughing at Pete the Puma.
Well, I mean, Looney Tunes are fun too, but anything that makes someone laugh will help, for sure.
Well, what you're seeing, and I really wanted to kind of tap Larry on this, there's still, if you boil it down and tell me if there's four, but I think there's three things for sales: qualify, present, and close. And among those things, how you get there, to Sandy's point, you carve your own path. When I have clients that want to use call scripts, not for me, but who am I to complain when they write their check? I have the perfect technology to do that, but I like to let people say it in their own way. And Mike, to your point, be different than those 10 other guys.
So that's
100%. If I send a text message and I do a video simultaneously, and the video is interesting, I'll get a lot of engagement. But go ahead.
Mike always leans into EEAT. And if you don't mind, Mike, I'm going to take the first two letters and add in what Jeff just said, and that's empathize and excite. If you can empathize with people, you can really make them feel like you care. And by the way, I tell salespeople all the time, it's not being phony. If you can't show concern for people that are helping you feed your family, you're an idiot. And be excited. We're all tired of, and I hope you, or people that don't look like that, if they're that interested in helping us, or they're, it's like they're, Jeff, it never, Mike Larkin came up to Connecticut, he lives in Connecticut, came up to see me, and he saw the mystery shop result of when I send the people out to say my sister just had a baby. It's still the same old thing. We just can't empathize. We just can't think, hey, this is great. Let me talk about something else twice. But if we can be empathetic, if we can be excited with people, I think it's going to be easier and easier to close deals. And timing with what Ian said, absolutely correct. That as you build your network, Ian, I reach out to everybody relentlessly. But all the business I've gotten, I think, in the last 6 months, other than one or two that I reached out to LinkedIn, were repeat referrals. You hooked me up with that RG company. Man, I'm getting in people left and right in Canada.
100%.
And the last 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs, Rhonda's there because they called me. Can you please come out? Sure.
And always remember the following: the onus is on you. You're the salesperson. The onus is on you to make it easy for that customer.
But whether you say, Larry, that there's a confusion out there between empathy and sympathy. Empathy is a skill, and people don't realize that it's a skill. Sympathy is, yeah, I feel sorry for the way you feel. That's different. It's empathy. You've got to stand in those persons' moccasins.
We used to say that
Michael, I can't, hold on a second. I feel sorry for anybody who can't empathize. Because if you don't understand people, you can't relate to them. They're not going to relate back to you. I didn't need to jump on, Jeff. Go ahead.
Well, sympathy is being on a boat and saying, man, Sandy, I'm sorry, you're seasick. Empathy is I'm hanging over the rail peeking with you.
Thank you for that definition.
But what I also find, Mike, to speak to your pushiness area, people will eventually tell you to back off. Like they will. But what surprises? Oh, they do. Oh yeah, you might have to be. It might be a long road. Like I think 25, 30 years ago, they would tell you quickly. Well, no, 25, 30 years ago, they would tell you sooner than they do today. But the reality is it takes on average 5 to 7 touches to have an answer either way anyway. It takes that long because people are so inundated, but also they're not really wanting to tell you, I'm not interested. But eventually they will.
Tony Robbins, when I was a high schooler, said it was 18 touches before you get a result.
Most people give up in 2.
He did a keynote speech for Salesforce, and it's up to 27.
Yeah, that's okay. Persist.
And these people are qualified to need what you're selling. Is that what you're saying?
No, to get a response from the approach on, hey, I'm just checking back. Hey, I'm sending you this 6 to 7 minute video, but what I do appreciate your feedback.
Well, but you also have to remember, years ago, there was a phone call, maybe a voicemail, maybe an email. That was it. That was the only things you could do, right? Sometimes before that was a phone call. Now it's 5 different things.
It's a case of people making the wrong choice. Yeah. When you call, don't say it's Jeff Shearer from Intelligence. Don't say it's Larry. Say it's Mr. Jackson from the IRS or Mr. Thompson calling from the AIDS clinic. And trust me, you'll get a very quick response.
Hi, y'all. It's Pete the Puma.
Oh, IRS does not call. IRS only sends mail.
That's what
so IRS one word.
By the way,
I finally got it.
Yeah. If you're into the Puma thing, I'm not making this up. They're coming out with a Coyote versus.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's gonna be hilarious.
Can't wait to see that damn movie.
But also, you got to remember, you got to remember, Mr. Larkin, 7 minutes for today's people on a video. Yeah, you got to cut it down to a minute or two, man. 7 minutes, I'll never watch it.
I got a lot to say.
I'll say Mr. Larkin and David Rozek did an excellent job earlier today trying to wake up the world that AI is here to stay. And I was curious, the noise that's going on with AI is exhausting. And I do appreciate what Mike and David shared today is that you need to have your stuff organized. You can't have slop all over the place. But boy, does the auto industry give such I don't know, the ones that are selling the most smoke get the most audience, and then the dealers are always eating crow down the road that they should have never went with that hype. So I'm exhausted hearing about AI. AI is a new hammer, is a new wrench, and Don's on tonight. And if you want to use AI correctly, you take a strong look at Don's program, because he's mastered filling the voids of the dealerships today. So if you can make sure that your processes are right, then his program is a success. But it'll fail miserably, continuously, when the dealers refuse to put together an organized process that everybody in the store agrees upon. So the AI fatigue is just another new shiny penny that I'd like to put it back in its place. And David and Mike did an awesome job today explaining that to anyone who wanted to listen, of what's really going on and what's noise and smoke. So I appreciate you guys. You did a great job today, because I'm tired of listening to the noise.
Oh yeah, just that one.
Why?
It was all David. His talking points are awesome.
All right, here we are, share.
Go ahead.
No, it is all about the how they embrace it and having systems and believing in incremental increase, getting everybody on the same page. Because if you don't have process, that's, you know, it's fortunate to have people hire me, J.D. Powers Associates and Maritz, where I learned really the skills to do detached consulting, and that very people, when you found out that they're doing things wrong way, then you learn how to teach and how to coach really. I think that's one of the things that made Larry so effective, is because he's always open, he's always encouraging. With these dealers, I was reading today that 80% of dealers have tried AI already. In fact, the fourth store that I'm in already tried 2 before they tried me. They're part of the 8th dealer group.
Hey, we've got Christian Younger in too. Christian, what are your thoughts, my friend, to keep it on mic?
You able to hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. Yeah, I had to switch over. Sorry. Little audio problems. Interesting. I kind of saw ahead of time you guys were talking about this subject, and I guess what I started thinking about just the automotive business and how we've always had these, like, you know, you were talking about hammers and these tools, and we've always adopted technology. I think before we understood we understood it 100%, right? And we didn't maybe even understand all the consequences. You get, you know, we had like CRMs was the rage back in 1999, and digital retailing. You got like automated pricing and people taking credit applications online, all that. I guess what I really was thinking about and asking you guys, I'll kind of turn it back on you, but AI is different to me because it doesn't just, I guess, organize information. To me, like, an AI can make decisions and take action. So I guess what the question isn't simply whether you use AI. It's more, I guess, if it's whether we trust it, it's how much authority do we give it. And I know that's one thing David talks a lot about is, like, you know, being careful with the security of it. So I guess that's kind of one of my thoughts. So I just kind of throw it out there. I mean, how much authority do we give it?
You use it as a tool, not a crutch, and then you're in good shape. Its utility is excellent, but to rely completely on something like that where there's so much disinformation being fed would be a drastic mistake. And when you're done, Christian, let's not forget about our buddy G. Haven't heard from the video.
Yes. Well, that's fine. I just was curious there. So yeah, I'd love to hear from him.
Gene.
Thanks for giving me the mic, but I'm just listening to everybody else today. I haven't been able to voice anything, but all about the attitude is gratitude. I agree with that, but I'm just listening to what everybody else has got, and kudos to the gentleman that just launched his website. I forgot his name. I lost him.
Don
Brown.
Yeah, kudos to Don. I was on your site. Looks really good.
Thank you. So
Gene,
third version.
how's the career search going, man?
Hey, it's I haven't got anything landed yet. David has reached out to a couple things that might help me, and so has Ian. So I thank you guys for that.
If you need more contacts or you have more questions, let me know.
Yeah. So appreciate those. It's nice to be in a place where your people are trying to help you and not hinder you.
Larry,
I need to ask you something. Mike Larkin said the only reason you showed up at your training because you owed him money.
Yeah, it's always that. Yeah, that's why I show up anywhere. You got a stack of 100s in that tire of yours?
Yeah.
In this video, you're going to learn.
So obviously there's a lot going on with AI, and there's definitely a lot of change. I mean, I had a show I did on dirty data, and we had did another one, and we had a gentleman from Pinewood, which is a UK based company that's backed by Lithium money, I think. But there seems to be a lot of marshaling forces sort of taking on pieces of these things. What do you think is going to happen with companies that I guess are like the pre-Techions of the world? So the Reynolds and stuff. Like, what do you think how that's going to impact those companies that are a little bit behind the eight ball, in your opinion?
I need to just insert here. The reason I chose this topic was because I keep running into these articles that talk about AI agents going rogue. And I'm absolutely fascinated by it because it's what they can do and what they are doing. I mean, thankfully, they're not doing it to me or anything that I own.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things that I read said it is now cybersecurity is now moving into a whole different genre to keep companies secure from their own AI agents and AI agents outside the company who are ganging up with their AI agents and causing havoc. So David and Mike, I guess, are the two people who can really speak to this even more so. But I'm sorry to say that I get a perverse joy out of reading these things. I just think them funny as hell.
Well, let me give you a throwback from 2018-19. So I was doing a class on big data analytics at the time, which was kind of the topic at the time. And the prof, who's very versed in this, shared a video that's no longer on YouTube. It was taken down a couple weeks later because YouTube didn't like it. But essentially what it was AI scientists at the time programming different things to do different things. And then the side effects of what they programmed didn't go out the way they thought. And they couldn't explain why that happened. So one of the exercises was a bunch of drones that were programmed to do a task. And then they were taking out the drones with a baseball bat. And then they couldn't figure out why the drones started attacking the person, taking them out with a baseball bat. And they couldn't figure out why that was happening. But the other one that was interesting was those RoboBot competitions. So they had two robots fighting each other. One had a bandsaw and something else. And they had an AI bot attacking one that was actually had an operator. And then they couldn't understand why the AI bot suddenly decided it wanted to attack the operator of the other bot. So part of this you got to remember, and this is something I was sharing with Rugg earlier. There was a guy in the UK who gave AI the control of a World War II tank and had it do a few things. And then after it did those things, it said, okay, shut yourself off. And then the AI decided to come at him with the tank because it didn't want to do that. So there is still a little bit of that where the programmers don't really understand some of the things the AI does. And that wasn't as big a deal, say, 10 years ago when it couldn't do a lot. But today, it can do a lot more stuff. And what's interesting, to your point, is sometimes the stuff it does isn't logical, but their argument was it was self-protective. That was what they were arguing. So I don't know if that's the case, but I thought it was an interesting discussion.
In other words, it learned how to not turn itself off.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally had a Sherman tank and it was driving it around running over targets. And then he's in a car. He's like, okay, stop now. You've done it. And it didn't want to do that. So it decided to run over the car he was in. So he was able to get out of the car. But yeah, it was interesting.
I guess that'd be AI going rogue.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
That's hallucinating.
It's just a flaw in the system. It's just a break in the loop.
Yeah.
So when there's a break in the loop and it doesn't know what to do, its default is to repeat itself. So if you understand the math and basic programming, that's not sentient. It's still not acting on its own. It's still a program that says do A, if not do B, and then there's a default somewhere that causes it to break. Now,
That's a big bug.
it is a big bug. And here's the difference, though, is that, I've been messing with programs since I was in junior high. So, when everything was in black and white, I was building video games. I was building Dungeons and Dragons video games where you had a tab and go through each room and type numbers, tic-tac-toe type of shit before we ever even thought of it. Building computerized chessboards, I was doing that when I was in junior high. All that stuff, it's just math. So it's still just a 0 and 1 breakdown. The only difference with today's AI is it does have different reasoning sets and it's able to communicate with other AIs to fill in the blank if the programming is there to do it. So that's why you can do it. If you programmed it to do prompt detection, to use a prompt to get an answer, it will get you that answer one way or another, because especially if you haven't put up the guidance and closed the loop. So nowadays with MCPs and CDPs and all these other things that knows how to break, because human has taught it something.
Yeah.
It very rarely can reason outside of that yet. So we've been yet to discover an AI, but everybody likes to say, hey, it's doing this or doing that, and it grabs a lot of our attention. But that link I put in the chat, start with that Google team and learn how to build your own first AI agent. Learn from those people how to talk to people about AI, because in reality, there's some of the best things about AI. My wife is showing me a lizard right now, and the lizard is in a cowboy hat hanging on my shoulder, which is a very uncomfortable thing to have the lizard crawl on me and a couple of things as I'm in. Hey, thank you, honey. I love you very much. I'm going to kill her in a little bit.
Recording.
That was, my daughter's lizard, one of 3. At least she didn't do the boa restrictor or the 3 rats pets today.
Yeah. Wasn't there like a blue-eyed gecko at one point?
Oh yeah, we have that.
You have that too.
Yeah, we have a zoo.
Hey, Larry, is he related to the guy with the snake?
We have a tarantula that's a beautiful tarantula, but I swear to God, that didn't crawl around the house. But we have lizards
if I be able to sleep at night with a tarantula in my house.
Yeah, we have lizards that'll just crawl around. They want to hang out, hang in the front window, get sun rays on going. I have a very rich family. I don't like bugs, lizards, and snakes. Okay, I'm surrounded by them.
David, my bass player, a guy named Larry B. Besides being an incredible bass player, he's really a character. Really a character. And I went to hang out with him one night, and he had like an iguana. Must have been like 6 or 7 feet long. And it was late. We played a show or something. I don't know, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And he said, you want to sleep over? And as he said it, the iguana came to him. I said, no, I think I'll be taking that ride.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And in my house, you never know. Like my family are like, hey, Chris doesn't have any spiders or anything crawling around us because we're not coming over for dinner. She does, and I'm like, no. So they do have all kinds of locks and stuff, but it just freaks me out. The other day I was talking to my daughter. I'm like, can you just press the button and it's gonna open up and come out at me? And she's like, no, Dad, you gotta put the key in here. And I said, all right, well, let's make sure that key is locked away.
So wait a minute. We just went sideways back into our original concept and topic. Everybody has little strange quirks. Themselves, their spouse, their kids. Everybody's got some weird stuff. If you say you don't, you're lying. Right. So that comes back to the empathy thing. David, I've told the story 12 million times, and it still infuriates me and amuses me. I had a guy that I worked with who called everybody rats or roaches because they're bad credit. And it really irritated me because I met a lot of really, really nice people who just happen to have bad credit. And at one point I pulled him aside and said, I'm going to punch you in the head. I can't take it anymore. You're constantly calling these people rats. He said, well, they have bad credit. I said, well, how's your credit? Mine's terrible, but I got divorced. It's the old not understanding that care but for the grace of God goes you all. When you don't empathize with people, you lose everything because they see that instead of feeling them, you're annoying them.
Oh, 100%. You're always looking for a way in or way out, right?
So this little robot behind me is Meccano. I've had him for about 10 years. And people used to come in my office and he would censor you and he would say hi and he would do a little dance. And he would tell you jokes. So I programmed him to tell jokes. And in my old office, anytime you come in, you would say, hey, tell me the joke of the day. So I had the ability to program him years ago. But one day, I wasn't there at work. And somebody came in and said, tell me a joke. And it started telling the joke, and it laughed, and it started dancing. Well, it fell down, and they picked him up. And for the whole time that I was gone, they closed the door to my office because the robot was running back and forth during the dance, and nobody knew how to shut him off. They're like, and then the robot started saying, help me, help me, help me. What was going on? They finally called me and said, hey, your robot's freaking out. I'm like, what did you do? They're like, oh, well, we dropped him. And I was like, he's saying, help me. And I said, no, that's part of the joke. But they didn't know that. They thought that the robot had come to life or something and was saying, help me. So you could see by this, he would always put his hands up in his little fingers, and I would leave them adjusted so people would think that as they were coming by, they'd say, hi. And they're like, you have the robot flip me off, don't you?
Yeah,
David, I'm looking closely at your robot. Was that a 10-year warranty? Did it just die after 10 years? Because it looks like you're maneuvering it.
I am maneuvering it because I haven't charged them or plugged them in probably a decade. Just like my drones behind me, I have 5. And then I have about 20 GoPros here that I haven't used. People are always behind me technology, and I use it for 5 minutes, and I get bored. Usually after I break it.
Plug that in, dude. It's a world premiere on Lethal Sales. Plug that in.
I have to pull out his CPU and reprogram him. I will. Next time I'll do it, and I'll pop a battery in him. He's rechargeable. I used to buy robots for my kids, and when you talk about those tech war things, Ian, though, I love that shit. I went out and bought it.
Oh, I like literally YouTube hated that video because it was like controversial, so they got rid of it. But it was interesting video.
Yeah, I'm glad they got rid of that show, but they really didn't. There's some other shows like it. It
oh yeah, this was years ago, but it was funny because they just really didn't like it.
Yeah,
they really didn't like it.
Not too long ago, probably 2 years ago, and that robot was $67,000 to buy a robot companion and walk around with me. And I just said, that's not worth it for the attention.
You can watch that tank video. It's up now. I don't know how long it'll be up, but this guy in Britain, he had a Sherman tank, and he had it running over things and stuff. So,
David, if you're that lonely, send me a check for $60,000. We'll save $7,000. I definitely have some good jokes.
At least Paul Meyer, when he comes into town, he takes me out to dinner with him.
Oh, ouch!
You know what? I want to see that thing program running after you at MABA.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'll probably buy a new one by then.
But I mean, talk about giving a robot a wide berth.
Yeah,
what the hell is that coming after me?
Yeah, he's a little old. He's not as exciting as my 14-foot skeletons that I put up during Halloween. I had 2 of them.
Wow.
And they play music and talk and all kinds of interesting things. They play Jack the Pumpkin King songs. So, but one of these days I'll get AI to redo everything in front of my house and turn it into
For anybody that missed
radio.
David's reference, it was to The Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's a Nightmare Before Christmas.
So
I share the same excitement that Rhonda does when AI goes crazy. So I'm kind of guilty of that as well. But hear me out for a second. I've been thinking about, AI this, AI that. Everything's AI, everything's AI. But the one thing that AI has done is I feel like it's kind of like leveling the playing field of everybody, right? And somebody comes out with something, someone's going to use AI to copy it. You know what I mean? It's shortened the gap from coders or, all these people that invented things. And it's, tightening that gap up to where now everybody has access, or a lot more people have access to be able to create and do things. Do you think that we're ever going to get to the point to where AI is equal to everybody, and it's like, or is it just going to the bad what do you call it? The actors are going to continue developing the bad stuff, and the good actors are going to develop the good stuff, and then it's going to be good AI against bad AI, or
I think quantum computers are part of that solution. So part of the challenge, and David, I'm sure will agree, but I don't know, but quantum computers are a paradigm shift in computing power. And that gives the AI, depending on how you build it, the ability to do more. But I think we're a long way away from the AI really being able to do anything dastardly at scale yet. But the pace of changes is fast, but quantum changes every type of calculation. So that could be anything from medical calculations to military calculations to processing. It allows, if you're familiar with the binary, it allows basically, instead of just on and off switch, it can do both simultaneously. The challenge is getting it to be stable, because it requires extreme cold, but they're working on it. So I would say within the next 5 to 10 years, they'll have that handled, and that will be a quantum leap in computing power. So it will give you the ability to do a lot more stuff. Because the big limitation, I think, with AI really is the amount of data processing power required at scale. And that's a big challenge that I don't think anyone's solved yet. I mean, maybe David has opinions, but
I think I do. You see,
Go ahead.
As you see Don's program, that he's done a really good job showing where AI is a resource and turning that into, this is opportunity that you're ignoring. So for bringing a process like this in, it's going to answer the phones at night. It's going to book the appointments. So strategically, what he's done is he's not telling anyone to change how they operate, but he's showing that here's where AI can come in and solve a lot of the bottlenecks and the friction. So I just keep on, and I go back and forth with, another company out there, One Keel. These guys are also using the AI strategically by smart people and bringing these tools to the dealership and proving to the dealerships that this is where you want to utilize AI today. You don't want them, you're not getting rid of anybody. You still need your salespeople. You still need your managers. But here's the tools that have been built exactly for these needs. And they've been testing them inside dealerships, proving that they work properly. So, I mean,
Gary, what are those things called, though?
What do you, I mean, what?
It's not software. It's actually an AI agent, an AI persona. So we're evolving into the world of the AI agent, and that's something that companies like One Keel are focusing a little bit more on. See, right now, what Michael and I play a lot with is EEAT and the foundation of things with websites to communicate. Right? It's clean data. What we're really doing is we're making a bunch of small markup files and like data index cards. So what we're doing is creating a universal type of language, okay? And this universal data layer will speak at a faster
amount or faster amount of information to build what's called a knowledge graph. And every topic will have what's called a catalog graph. And an AI agent and persona, multiple of them's job will be to dissect all that in order to get you the answer faster, to transact faster without even having to ever go to a website. It's just that your personal agent of Gary's knows about finance, it knows about you, and it knows you want to buy a certain product. You're going to tell it to execute something. And if the dealer has the right EEAT and the right foundation and the right knowledge graph, and their agent can then talk to your agent, and we're going to have these fights between agents going, hey, I don't want to buy the car. You're too high. You're not giving me enough from the person's trade. It won't be a human. It'll be your AI, your machine communicating with the other machine.
Yeah,
and that's
like
something
bringing
that
your own
one feels
personal
built.
iguana to the
Yep.
dealership.
Exactly. So, I mean, what we're doing is we're asking a machine to remove the human error out of that. However, the problem is that buying a car, servicing a car, and taking care of a person is a human thing, an emotion. You know, you could get frustrated in the process trying to call somebody or filling out a form, but it still takes at some point, it needs to turn over to a human in general. Now, I'm not saying that you can't transact and buy a car eventually just through an AI agent. But what I am saying is that when I do have a question and I need to go take a drive in that car, I'm not going to ask a robot. I'm going to go see Gary and say, hey, Gary, tell me about this. And, you know, can you tell me my finance options? I see what I read and the agent told me, but, you know, I just want to know from a person. I want to trust you. Now, people have wanted that from people in the car business forever. So now we're building trust from an AI. Right.
Hey, David, when you get done, I see Sandy has her hand up.
Sandy, interrupt.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Well, I just actually what David said at the end is what this all makes me think about, right? I think AI is an amazing tool.
It's a tool. Yeah.
Right. But it is creating an environment where all of us, but most especially new people coming into the industry, need to have a different skill set.
Yeah.
Right. And it's about emotional intelligence. And what are we using? How are we an industry that, David, as you kind of alluded to, is not very emotionally intelligent because our customers have been looking for that for a long time, right? So, you know, there are ways to build those soft skills. You know, they call them soft skills, but when you do the research about those soft skills, those are the things that when someone has a high level of emotional intelligence, who they know how to behave and act under pressure, right? Not in an interview, but under pressure. Those are the people that have a much higher likelihood of succeeding in whatever role they're in, right? So I feel like AI is pushing the industry to be better because we must, right? We must begin to develop these skills, and we have to get these skills to the generations coming into the industry, because AI is going to take a lot of the transactional crap that nobody wants to do. Yay, right? Yay.
But now we have to manage that time with that individual. And that's the other part of it, is that AI can make us superhuman, right? AI can make things speed up, but then we're supposed to be getting back time for that employee. But now, wait a second, how do I coach that employee now?
Well, that's
because we need coaches like Larry to teach them how to coach people, because AI just gave you a free hour. What are you going to do at that time? How about take care of more customers?
Coaches need coaches, and crazily, interestingly, I'm working with there's a company called Interactive EQ.
Nice.
It actually measures all of this. It will tell you how somebody is going to think, act, and behave under pressure. It is pretty amazing.
What's he going to do with Larry then? He's unpredictable.
I love that Larry take one of these assessments.
He's a training exercise.
I mean, Gary may beat the shit out of him.
There's something called brand identification, and it leads into source of trust.
Yep.
That's what AI is looking for, and the source of trust is derived that what can AI not do? AI cannot create your experience. It cannot create your expertise. It cannot create your authority. That's got to be done by the expert. How is
Mike, how about put your arm? AI can't put its arm around you or say, yeah, I hate that happened to me.
Yep, that's very true.
Or put a lizard on my shoulder.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
He
can't do that.
knows I hate that.
Yeah. But what it can do is it can check on your trustworthiness, and it's doing that through the reviews online. So when you say that you're in the friendliest dealership in Hartford, Connecticut, it's going to go through my reviews and say these guys are crooks, and all of a sudden you're screwed.
That's right.
Yep. So make sure your SOT is right on target, and that includes your same phone number on your website that you use on your Facebook. That counts.
It
But it's
does,
so
but I hate
small.
that thing.
Yeah, but it's so small, but it's SOT. So get yourself audited for SOT. And it's still
What does that stand for?
It's called source of
Trust.
Source of what?
Truth.
Source of trust.
Oh.
Can I add a nice little thing, if I may, because we're closing in? And we had a nice little shocker for the last 14 months here in good old Los Angeles, with Mr. Walters buying the Dodgers and then coming in 12 days ago, making a play for the Lakers. And to go from $10 billion, they got, Dodgers have $1.5 billion in deferred money outstanding till 2047. And the reason for all of that is Shohei Ohtani has made $1 billion this year for Dodgers alone. But my beloved Lakers since 1975, that Jerry Buss bought them for $180 million on credit card. And now the company sold within 12 weeks for $12.5 billion. I mean, look at that evaluation of the Lakers and Dodgers. And of course the big story is
two things. Walter bought the Lakers for $10 billion and sold it for $12 billion.
No. He bought it for $6 billion, and he bought the Lakers for $6 billion, and paid the Buss family $10 billion, and Kushner and Iger bought it for $12.5 billion. Give them $6 billion.
They picked up almost $2 billion a year. And the other thing,
$4 billion. And now, because he's liquidity, because the two things you don't do in this country, you don't mess around with life insurance companies, because he's got his 2 life insurance companies that he played around money, about $12 billion to buy the Dodgers and buy Chelsea. So now the FCC and SEC, FBI filed yesterday $21 billion. And so the Lakers are done in the sale, and now he's selling his Chelsea, and now the Dodgers have to be next, because for him to put the reserves back into his life insurance company and avoid jail.
Just do me a favor, Abdul. Please don't mention the thing with Buss where he bought the Lakers for $180 million on credit cards. With my wife,
that was Jerry Jones. But the Cowboys
on credit cards.
Jerry Buss bought the Kings, Lakers, and the Forum for $200 million, and now it's $12.5 billion.
And what's your piece of the action on that transaction?
It's just all from the future.
But I thought all this was funny. I remember when he signed Magic Johnson. I think it was $20 million for 20 years, and people.
No, $25 million for 25 years.
So
Lifetime contract.
You got guys now that can barely play. They're making $20-30 million a year. All right, listen, guys, we're over our time. We can't thank you enough.
Go Yankees, go Yankees, and go Dodgers. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's
Whatever you
baseball
say.
season.
Stay healthy, everybody.
Thank you.
And the Cubs.
Great.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you for helping the industry get better today live.